And then when I started to teach truth, and people
in
were...
your karate lesson?
Yeah, I would... It's a bit embarrassing, Paul, and I hope it doesn't sound pretentious, but I'd stand in a room and start talking to somebody, and suddenly I'd have a crowd around me. People are listening. Then I'd be embarrassed and step away, thinking, who am I? I'm not anybody to listen to. So I recognised that people were drawn to truth because God's in truth. So I started to teach it in my karate class, and I, at one stage I had 100 people in a Tuesday night karate class, paying X amount a session. Just couldn't fit them in the room. I was drawing people. People were starting to come from other cities. Later on, when I was writing about the doors, people came from other countries. People came from across the world just to stand in that class.
We met because of truth.
Yeah.
Someone gave me the pavement arena.
Yeah.
And
the video, yeah.
Yeah, the video. He knew that I was doing martial arts at the time, and I had this whole system going on, and he said to me, "It's not going to work." And I said,
"That's a shock, isn't it?"
But it should do. What do you mean it's not going to work? And he
haven't seen on the bag. Let me show you on the bag.
But he took me through some basic stuff, and the simplicity, like stripping everything away and giving it down to its core. After that one session, it probably was about an hour, he said, "Have a look at this video. It's called the Pavement Arena." And he studied a lot of what you did, and he just showed me the most basic stuff. But what was in that basic stuff was just immense.
Yeah.
And I said, I want what he has.
Yeah.
There is something there. And he was
turned up at my house, didn't you, Bab?
Yeah. Yeah.
Never got rid of you since. It's like 30 years ago.
And then I was picking your brains at some points, and you just said, well, I think at that time we wrestled or grappled.
We wrestled in my front room. Yeah.
I was very new to wrestling and grappling. I said, I don't think that would work, and you said, try it. Next thing I knew, I was on my back with some carpet burns. And I remember Sharon walking past going...
I was always wrestling with someone in my front room. There's always someone being wrestled in my front room.
But that's what you were saying before, you have to feel it.
Yeah.
And then once I felt it, I thought that's truth. Like just being confident enough to say, let me just go into this and see what happens. And it's like a phrase you keep saying, it's like an acid bath,
Yeah, it's an acid bath. The new word is hench, isn't it? Hench. This is hench martial arts. My writing is hench, raw. It's just what it is. It's just neat. There is nothing extraneous. Yeah. There's nothing superfluous. There's nothing that doesn't have a function. It's immediate and it works. And it's so simple, it's insulting. The best stuff is, our stuff was so simple, I started teaching it in a sports centre, in a tiny room in a sports centre in Coventry, and the truth was so powerful it rippled out across the world. And suddenly me and Sharon were invited over to teach for Chuck Norris in Las Vegas, 500 of Chuck Norris's top black belts, and we went over there, and I went over there twice actually and taught for him, because he saw the truth in it. It actually didn't just go to Chuck Norris, it went to Australia first. And a guy called John Will, who's a legendary Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, looked at it and said, "This is truth." And he gave it to Richard Norton, who was a film star who acted with Chuck Norris. And so I became friends with John. I became friends with Richard Norton. And Richard Norton said, "This is truth." And he gave it to Chuck Norris in America. And Chuck Norris looked at it and said, "This is truth." And they invited me over to teach. And I was teaching this truth with the Machados, with Benny Akides, with some of the best grapplers and strikers in the world. And I was going over with my truth and just saying, this is it. And it was so, this truth was so natural that Higan Machado immediately befriended me, gave me a jiu-jitsu lesson there and then. He was just talking in one of the lobbies, and he gave me a lesson there and then. Benny Akides spent hours with me, because he's seen the truth. Benny Akides' wife is a shaman. She's the great-great-great-granddaughter of Geronimo. I've never met her. She hadn't heard of me from Adam. And she saw me and didn't know me and saw the truth. This is true. She made a beeline for me, and she never left me alone until she said what she needed to say. She sat at dinner with me, got the Machados here, Benny Akides here, got Benny Akides' wife sat next to me. She's got a hand on my neck for all of the dinner, talking to me, telling me why I was there, what was going on. She told me about the spirits around me. And I said, are they telling you that I'm in the right place? And she looked at them and she started laughing. And she said, you're in Las Vegas teaching for Chuck Norris. I think you're in the right place. Yeah. You know, you've been invited over here. So that was not about me, Paul. That's about the truth. The truth is separate from me. The truth, I access the truth, but to access the truth, I had to absorb 99% of the lie. You have to go and stand in front of it and say, okay, let's have a look at it. It's posturing. The lie is posturing, and it's big, and it's a three-dimensional monster. But if you stand in front of it, it becomes a two-dimensional cartoon. And if you absorb 99% of it, it dissipates.